Welcome to VUS webinar 2020. How are you all this morning? I hope you had a great day today, right? Okay, great. Before we start, let me introduce myself. My name is Han, and I'll be your host today. Can I check if all of you can hear me well? Can you just type yes or okay in the chat box so that I can know that you can all hear me well? Great, thank you. Good. Seems like we all ready to start. Okay, this free webinar series is held by VUS with the participation of ELT experts and invited speakers from well-known publishing houses such as Oxford University Press, Macmillan Education, National Geographic Learning, and Cambridge Assessment English. We hope to bring you the most updated and practical teaching methods and techniques so that you can teach your class more effectively, especially during this coronavirus pandemic. So thank you again for joining us in today's webinar entitled Fostering Teenager Autonomy with Internet-Based Contents and Techniques, presented by Mr. Dinh Bao Quoc from VUS. Before we start, please be informed that we will have the Q&A session at the end of this webinar. Also, during that time, I will send you the links to complete a survey about this webinar and to download your certificate of participation. All right, now let me introduce you to Mr. Quốc, a very good colleague and very good friend of mine. Over to you, Quốc.
Thanks, Han, for your introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well today. First of all, thank you for joining me today in this webinar. I hope that at the end of this webinar, you will have at least 1 or 2 ideas to apply into your classroom. So first, I'd like to make sure that you can hear me and you can see my screen, right? I'm going to share the screen here. So give me a second. Yeah. All right. So if you can see the screen clearly, please tap yes in the chat box. Thank you. And one more thing, we use Mentimeter for the whole session today. So grab your cell phone and join my slide with the code 978480. Or if you have a QR code scanner, you can scan the QR code on the screen. I'll give you a few seconds to do this. All right, you finished? I think everybody is good to start, right? So today's topic is about learner autonomy. Sounds very familiar to you, right? But can you guess when was this term first appeared? Please type a year in the chat box. For example, you think learner autonomy first started in the 1980s, you type 1980. Yeah, I see here, 1999, 1980, 1970, so about 50 years ago. Okay, so 1990s, 1970, okay. So it's a long time ago, right? All of us think that learner autonomy is a terminology that appeared a long time ago. Let me tell you, it first appeared in 1981, right? So a few of you have very close answer. And it was coined by a researcher named Henry Halleck. He's considered the father of this term, learner autonomy. So it's been something we know for a long time, and as teachers, we wished for it, but not very successful to achieve it. Many of us thought that it is something luxurious, something difficult, not easy to get, and then we just leave it there. A lot of us think that learner autonomy is something that learners can help students, that teachers can help students to improve. And that is why I have this webinar to share with you some ideas and practical tips and techniques you can use to foster your students' autonomy. And these tips or techniques that I share today, you can use it for both online and offline classes. And one more thing, although today focus is about teenagers, but I believe that you can apply the ideas for your other students too, like adults or kids or anybody to some extent. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. The first thing I'd like you to do is, because they focus on teenagers, right? I'd like you to choose one word to describe your teenage students. One word that best describe them. 1 or 2 words, up to you. And so grab the phone and yeah, somebody start doing that already. So you have naughty, smart, energetic. Yes, I think teenagers are very energetic. Rebellious, I like that word. Curious, chatty. Right, lazy, yeah, lazy, but dynamic. You see that a lot of people agree that they are very naughty, but smart and lazy, right? Talkative. I see a lot of negative words here, everybody. Lively, yeah. Curious. Funny. Moody. Yes, teenagers are very moody. And it is the same everywhere in the world, right? Our teenage students. Diligent, yes. Distracted, easily distracted. Creative, creative. Clever. So besides some big words there, I can see some beautiful words, smaller, but very beautiful. Clever, dependent, competitive, ambitious, lovely. Yeah, we continue to get more ideas from friends here. Hardworking, they're hardworking. Yeah, well, a lot of homework from teachers, right? Unpredictable, somebody say unpredictable. We don't know what they are going to do or what they are thinking about, right? Okay, so you see that there are a lot of words here, and the big words here: talkative, lazy, smart, active, naughty, energetic. So they are all correct about our teenage students. And while you're doing that, I'll tell you, teenagers today belong to what we call Generation Z. People born from 1995 to 2010. They are also called digital natives. They never knew a word without internet or smartphone. To them, the internet or smartphone are their word. They do everything there: socializing, learning, selling things, buying things, entertaining. So everything they do on the internet. So if you're a teacher and you want to teach them effectively, you should know how to make use of the internet, right? Okay, thank you for your ideas. Now, the second questions I'd like you to do before we go to the main part. Even though most of us think that improving our student autonomy is not easy, I believe you've been doing that somehow. So what do you often do to enhance your student autonomy? Can you type an answer and share with us on the screen? Building rapport. Good idea. Somebody say in the chat box, ask question. At work, can you write it on the screen? Raise questions. Tell story. Student choice. So make or give the student an opportunity to choose things, right? Give them the choice. Support the student, building confidence, building teachers' confidence or students' confidence. Create challenges. Give them pair work, teamwork. Make them happy. Yeah, I like this. Everyone wants to be happy. Give bonus score, task assignment. So many ideas here. Personalized activities. Guide students giving assignments. Playing games to learn more actively. Motivate them. Give them choices, ask them to take responsibility for their own learning. I really like this one. Understanding their learning perspective and motivate them. Yep. So it seems that you knows how to help your student improve their learner autonomy, right? I can notice that here we have effective ways to do it. I think that's a very good sign that you're aware of that, aware of enhancing your students' learner autonomy, and that is really important. Okay, so thank you for your ideas here. We will go to the next slide. Sorry, give me a second. Okay, so this is our agenda today. We spent around 15 minutes talking about quickly about learner autonomy, what is autonomy, and how to foster learner autonomy. And the rest of the time, we will explore some ways we can explore the internet to help our students improve their autonomy. It's a very, very brief. So what is autonomy actually? So according to you, what is autonomy? What is learner autonomy? Can you give a short definition for autonomy on the screen? Effectiveness, freedom to raise ideas, the ability to learn by themselves, okay? Students be in charge of their own study, be active to learn or do something, try to do something on their own, responsibility for their own learning, okay? Many of the definitions here are very close to what researchers talk about autonomy. Okay. So thank you. We will have more ideas here. The ability for students to understand and raise ideas. Self-manage their learning pace. Ability to learn and research. Self-driven motivation to learn. Okay, so many beautiful definitions. Yeah. All right, let's see how or what researchers talk about autonomy, right? Actually, there are many more literatures about learner autonomy, but because we don't have enough time, we will look at 3 typical ones only. And the first one, that is Henry Horlick. You can see his photo on the screen. He's considered the father of this term. So he said, learner autonomy is the ability to take charge of one's own learning. And later he specifies as to have and to hold the responsibility for all the decisions concerning all aspects of this learning. So that is, learners are responsible for everything in their learning. For example, determine learning objectives, define contents, and select methods and techniques to be used. Okay. The second person, Littlewood, in 1999, he said students should take responsibility for their own learning. This is both because own learning can only be carried out by the students themselves, and also because they need to develop the ability to continue learning after they finish their formal education. And taking responsibilities here involves learners in taking ownership of deciding on learning objectives, selecting learning methods, and evaluating progress. All right, the third one, that is from Kumar Dravadivelu. This is a very long name. And he says, in his book, Beyond Methods, you can see the cover of the book on the screen. Published in 2003, he said, learner autonomy involves enabling learners to learn how to learn. And he explained that in order to do this, students need to be equipped with the tools necessary to learn and trained to use appropriate strategies to realize their learning objectives. So we see that there are different ideas not different ideas and different definitions, but very close in ideas, right? So in short, we can say learner autonomy or autonomous learners are responsible for their own learning and capable of learning to learn. Okay, now I'd like you to take note of one important thing. There's a study showing that many of us as teachers usually misunderstand the term autonomy. So let's answer the following questions to see if we belong to this misunderstood group. I'd like you to choose the features of learner autonomy here. So is learner autonomy independence, or is it context-free? That is, autonomy happens regardless of the context, or it is a steady stage. You can choose more than one answer. Yeah, I see the answer already. So 29%, sorry, 42 people already. So most of you choose in learner autonomy is independence, right? And 22, context-free, and a steady stage. Yeah, the number is going up. Okay, 10 more seconds, everybody, quick. So somebody say in the chat box, place the learner in the center of attention in language teaching. So that's a very good idea, and I quite agree with that, right? The learner is like the center of everything when we teach them, not only in English or language learning, in everything. Yeah, I will, Miss Han, right? Miss Han Nguyen, more explanation on steady stage, please. Okay, just finish this one, I'll do it for you. Okay, so we have like more than 100 people answer these questions, right? Nearly 200, right? And half of them think that learner autonomy is independence, and the rest would think that it is context-free or it is a steady stage. Now I tell you this, everybody, as soon as you submitted the answer to this question, you belong to that misunderstanding group. Right? Autonomy is not independence. It is not context-free, and it is not a steady stage either, according to Kumar. So none of these is the answer to the question, I'm sorry. Okay, the reason why I asked you this question is because these are usually the top 3 misconceptions that people have about autonomy. Now, let's have a look at the first conception. According to Kumar, 2003, he said, autonomy is not independence. That is, learners have to work with and to learn to work with their teachers, peers, and even with the educational system. So it's not like students learn by themselves all the time, right? They need cooperation from peers, from teachers, and even from the system, the educational system. The second misunderstanding is that autonomy is not context-free. That is, there should be a context for autonomy to happen. And this context is defined by the learner's personalities and motivation, their language learning needs and wants, and the educational environment. For example, if they have no motivation in learning English, or they don't think learning English is important, you can ask them to become autonomous learners in English, right? Another example, I have many students moving to live in the US, and there they developed a much different autonomy compared with when they lived in Vietnam. So you can see that it's not context-free. And in this second misunderstanding, that leads to the third one, because autonomy happens in context. It will change when the context changes. It's not steady. A student can be autonomous in one situation, but maybe not in another. You can take yourself as an example. You can be autonomous in learning English, but not math because you don't think you need math for your future, right? Or back to the previous example, my student, when he lived in Vietnam, he wasn't as autonomous in learning English as when he moved to the US. So we see that learner autonomy is not a steady stage, right? It's not contact free and it's not independent. So keep in mind, so you should keep in mind that autonomy is not these things, right? And I hope that from now on, we will be excluded from that misunderstanding group of people. All right, now we'll go to the second part. How do we foster learner autonomy? So how? Let's get back to this person, Kumar, in 2003, in his book, Beyond Methods. He said, learner autonomy involves enabling learners to learn how to learn, right? So how do we do that? So first of all, equip them with the tools they need to learn on their own. Tools here can be the resources, the contents, or the methods, techniques that they use to learn. So later in this presentation, we'll talk about this. And the second thing is train them to use appropriate strategies for realizing their learning objectives. Teachers' guidance, teacher discussions, teacher supports are very helpful to help them know what their learning objectives are. Okay. So that's what we should do. How about how to do them? So Phil Benson, in his book, Teaching and Researching Autonomy in Language Learning, suggested 5 approaches to help students improve their learner autonomy. The first one, resource-based, focusing on student interaction with learning materials. The second one, technology-based, emphasize students' interaction with educational technologies like internet, like projectors and things like that, like Menti. Learner-based approach, focusing on the changes in the learner. For example, changes in learning strategies or changes in learning objectives. The fourth approach, classroom-based approach, emphasizing changes in the relationship between teacher and student, change the roles in the classroom. And the last one, curriculum-based approaches, focus on the control over the planning and the evaluation of the learning to the curriculum as a whole, right? And he suggests that we should have a mixed approach when we try to improve our student learner autonomy. All right, so that is what I say about the research, right? How about as teacher, what should we do? First of all, use appropriate tools, contents, techniques, strategies, and methods so that you can enhance your student autonomy. And we should focus on learners' learning needs and wants, what they need to learn and how they want to learn them. We should focus on learners' personality and motivation. And we should create engaging learning environments. So all these things, like learning needs and wants, personality, and learning environments, they will form the context in which learner autonomy will happen. We mentioned that, right? Learner autonomy is not context-free. And the last thing we should do is to mix the approaches so that we can maximize our learner autonomy. Okay, so far we talked about what learner autonomy is and what teachers should do to help foster student autonomy, right? Now let's go to the third part of our webinar today. We will explore some ways that we can use the internet to promote our students' learner autonomy. By using these resources, we will mix 3 approaches. First, resource-based approach. Students will have new interaction with the contents and materials. Second, very clear, right? Technology-based approach. And the third one, classroom-based approach. We will see how the roles or relationship between teachers and students change in the classroom. Okay, so, but before that, I'd like you to, again, share your ideas. What do you often use the internet for when teaching, right? Do you agree with me that internet is a huge source of materials that you can use in your class, right? So what often sorry, what do you often use the internet for when you teach? Okay, so we have used this for extra text, for video and songs, for teaching sites and apps, for games, for teaching tools, like marking the writing, for example. So most of you using internet for games, right? And video songs. So games and video songs are, what should I say? That is like vital for if you want to have a beautiful or interesting English lesson, right? Songs and games. And not a lot using internet for extra text, because maybe students don't like extra activities, right? Extra reading, for example. Teaching science apps. I think most of us get used to the teaching science apps, especially during this coronavirus when we are doing online classes everywhere. Okay, so we still have the answers. Okay, somebody asked for the code. Everybody, the code is here. 978480. All right, thank you. Okay, so it seems that you are using a lot of internet in class, right? But are you using them the way to enhance your student autonomy? Hopefully we can find the answer to this question at the end of this presentation. Now, let's see what we are talking about here today is, first of all, that is I-based or internet-based authentic materials, how we use them. We'll talk about mobile and web-based teaching learning. And we will talk about the I-based projects, right? So the I-based authentic materials, that is the authentic and reliable content that you can find from the internet to make use of them in class, right? Many people try to stay away from materials from the internet because they think that it is not suitable, it is very sensitive, but there are other ways that we can use them. Second, the teaching apps and websites that are available for teachers or students to use, these are very popular now, and you can find them everywhere. And the last one, I will suggest some projects and activities that you can do with your student with the help of the internet and to help improve their learner autonomy. All right, let's have a look at the first one. Authentic materials. So what are they? First of all, reading text, right? News, reports, story, fables, blog, everything that student can read, you can use it. Try to write something related to your student in their experience. For example, if you are in Nha Trang and your student learning about a lesson about living in the city, so find a text about foreigner talking about living in Nha Trang for them to read. So with this, you have motivated them and created an engaging topic that they may want to know. Or if you teach children or young teens, find a simplified fairy tales for them and ask them to create a different ending or to draw comic strips. We'll have tools on the internet to help them draw comic strips. This way, they develop a new interaction with the materials and not just read. Maybe you can ask them to play with it and they can play with the reading text again and again. Not only like our traditional reading comprehension text, right? Just read and answer the question and that's it. Or another example, an innovative way is to ask your students to find a suitable text for the next reading lesson. This way, you give them the right of choosing what to learn, which usually is your responsibility, not the student. But now we give them the opportunity to do that. You may think that it sounds unrealistic, right? But why don't you give it a try? of course, with your guidance. So you see, if we know how to use internet materials effectively, we can help improve them, our student autonomy. Similarly, we can use listening recordings. So beside the boring traditional textbook recordings, get something from the internet and help your students develop their learning skills in a way they love, right? Have them watch the recent news, do a project with a song of their choice, or a video, right? Music, cartoons, movie, TV series, news. Videos are very important for teenagers. I'll tell you about that later. There's a note here, everybody. I do not recommend that you get rid of the textbooks and replace it with these materials. The point here is that how you can make use of the huge and free internet resources to make the teaching and learning more effectively, especially when you want to enhance your student autonomy, right? Do not just throw the textbook away, okay? They buy it already. Okay, now, with the huge internet resource, how do we know which one is suitable for our student and which one is not, right? What should we base on when choosing an internet material for our students? So that's the questions I believe that a lot of teachers here is having. So first of all, the material should be appropriate to learners in terms of age, interest, needs, wants, or English level, right? The second, it should be updated to enhance learner interest. You should not ask them to read about something that are not popular anymore, right? Or about a long time ago. It depends on your purpose, but it should be updated and corrected. And it's authentic too, so that your student will have a chance to expose to the real Englishes out there. Now, we do not have only British English or American English. Now we have many kinds of English. Also, you know, with English. And it should be related to learners. Their favorite movies, song, their country, interest to improve their motivation, right? You should not ask them to listen to a songs of 1950s, right? And I don't think they like Yesterday Once More or what else? Any title you can think of. But think of the materials that related to their lives now, their interest now. And the last thing, this should be legally and morally appropriate. So avoid sensitive and controversial topics and contents. All right, so that is, we just went through the materials and how to choose the materials. Now I'd like to switch your focus into using videos. Why I focus on using video in the classroom? Let me tell you some numbers from recent surveys and studies about using video in class. YouTube, Snapchat, and Instagram are the most widely used video platforms among teens. And YouTube only has over 1 billion views every day. Second, according to a survey by Manifest, a business website, 89% of our teenagers or Generation Z are YouTube viewers. Okay, so a lot of teenagers are watching YouTube videos. And in a study conducted by a software company called Kaltura in 2015, 93% of teachers believe that the use of educational videos improves their learning experience. So I can say that using video in class in English is very important if you want to have an effective lesson. And in terms of enhancing learner autonomy, video create an engaging and familiar learning environment in which the student learn what they want and in a way that they enjoy. You know, I noticed that at the beginning of this webinar, you said that you use video in class. So what do you often use video for? For example, to warm up, to teach vocab, or to practice speaking, right? So can you put your answer in the chat box to see what do you often use video for? Leading and warmer, a good answer, warm up. Promote teaching like history. Brainstorm, leading, warm up. So most of you think warm up, right? Energizer, good ideas. A fueler, oh, meaning check, introducing grammar pattern, very good. Break from lesson, tell a story, okay, icebreaker, practice new grammar patterns, yes. And use that as instructional videos by other teachers, right? So instead of you teach them, so you show a video of other teacher to teach them. It's a good idea. And active student thinking, right? So, so there are many ways you can use that, right? Let's do an activity with a short video in a grammar lesson to see how it helps improve our student learner autonomy, right? Now, in this video activity, I divide you into two groups. Group A, females, and group B, male teachers, right? Okay, and I'm going to show you the worksheet. I'm sorry I cannot send the worksheet to you beforehand, but you can see the worksheet here. So again, group A, female, and group B, male, right? So group A, you watch and remember, then talk to your students, sorry, to your friends about men's activity. And group B, you watch and take the activities that the man does, then talk to your friends about the men's activities, right? Again, because I cannot send you the file before, the worksheet before, please take notes. Group B, please take notes. What are you going to do? Okay, so get up, have breakfast, clean up, cook breakfast, exercise, take a shower, brush your teeth, go out, adjust the clock, and check mailbox. All right, are you ready? Let's watch. I believe that you know this video if you are at my age or a little younger, but maybe not our teenagers. Okay, so let's watch everybody. I love this movie. Okay, so sorry, I forget to tell you about the sorry, the objective of this lesson. Imagine we are learning the simple present tense, and we've just finished the presentation, and now we go to the practice, right? So I use these videos as a practice activity for our student. You finished, right? Now I will ask student A talk to student B about the man, what he does, what he doesn't do, using the simple present tense, right? So the student will say, for example, he gets up at 6, or he doesn't take a shower, something like that. So you can see that this is quite simple, but very interesting way for our students to practice grammar, right? Instead of the substitution drill in a textbook or the exercise in the textbook. And if you are teaching online, you can put them in breakout rooms so that they can do the pair work with their friends. All right. Actually, I really like this movie. I remember the time when I taught TOEFL classes. I used this movie for my students to practice speaking, writing, and vocabulary, everything. You can think that this is simple, right? How can we use it for TOEFL classes? If you are creative enough, or if you are flexible enough, you can see that you can use video for every part of the lesson. All right, now let's recap a little bit about this activity. First of all, who can be the appropriate for students for this video activity? What do you think? Who can be the student, appropriate student for this video activity? All ages? Anyone? Teenagers? Teens, right? Okay, most of you agree with teens. I can say that anyone, right? Because first of all, the teenager, they really like watching videos, like we mentioned earlier. And it's a cartoon, right? So kids, teens, and young adults, or even the adult like me, still like cartoons. And they can create the students' motivation, right? But as I mentioned earlier, if you want to use this movie or this video for kids, maybe they don't like it because they don't know this movie, right? So it's not very updated, updated to the kids student. Some say I might use Tom and Jerry for young kids because the characters are more familiar. That's a good idea, right? But I think I read about like 2 years ago, some countries now they ban Tom and Jerry from showing to children because they say that Tom and Jerry is very, violent. All right, be careful. All right. And number 2, is it suitable to use this video in class, everybody? Yes or no? Is it suitable to use this video in class? I myself think that it's appropriate to learners' levels of English, right? Simple English, and even in this video, they do not say anything. Easy to understand, right? And it's cartoon, so suitable for student ages, interest in one. So this is good, and nothing is sensitive, nothing is controversial in this movie. And there's one good thing that is related to the learners. These activities are what they do every day, right? What they do or what their parents do or grandparents do every day. So it's very related to our learners. And number 3, how can this activity foster learner autonomy? First of all, we use extra materials, right? Not just textbooks, but videos. And there is new interaction between students and the learning materials. We talk about the one of the approach. And the second one, technology, right? Videos. And the third one, create an engaging learning environment. Very interesting, very motivating, and very familiar to students. So when we talk about motivating or motivation, we mean how students want to learn, right? So all these things, we can help improve their learner autonomy with these activities. So we can see that we can use video to teach every lesson from vocab to grammar to skills, and in every part of the lesson from warm-up to wrap-up. It depends on how creative we are in using this wonderful resource. Now, where to find these videos? The answer is anywhere on the internet, but you know the first place to go, right? YouTube. All right, now we go into the next one, songs. I think 100% of teachers here using song in their class some ways. And songs can bring motivations and reflect learning needs and wants. Help them foster their learner autonomy. However, when I observe classes, I usually notice some traditional activities that happen again and again in class, like singing along, dancing, feeling the lyrics. this easily becomes boring to our students and not very much useful in helping them improve their learner autonomy. So let's try a new activity with a song that I specially choose for today. Okay. Now, first of all, I'd like you to pick up 6 words from the screen. Here we have a lot of words here. I'd like you to pick up 6 words, 6 different words. And it doesn't matter if it's a big word or a small word, so you can pick up any words you like. I'll give you 10 seconds, 10 more seconds to do that. And when you pick up the words, please note down in the piece of paper. Oh, sorry, this is not the voting. This is not the voting. This is the words that I like you to pick from. So no voting here. Okay, so if you finish choosing 6 words, please write them down in the piece of paper. All right, for example, if I choose like crazy, feeling, fancy, outcast, baby, so I will write those words on the piece of paper. All right, somebody asked, Miss Lin asked, can pick. Okay. All right, we playing, you finished everybody? So we're playing bingo. Okay, so you're listening to a song and take the words you hear. When you take on the 6 words, shout bingo. Oh, sorry, you cannot shout here. So if you finish, you take on the 6 words, you type bingo in the chat box. Okay, so can I check how many words to bingo, everybody? How many words can bingo? 6. Okay, very good. All right, now let's listen to the song.
Do you ever feel like a misfit? Everything inside you is dark and twisted. Oh, but it's okay to be different, 'cause baby, so am I. So am I, so am I, so am I. Can you hear the whispers all across the room? You feel their eyes all over you like cheap perfume. You're beautiful, but misunderstood. So why you trying to be just like the neighborhood? I can see it, I know what you're feeling. So let me tell you about my little secret. I'm a little crazy underneath this, underneath this. Do you ever feel like a misfit? Everything inside you is dark and twisted. Oh, but it's okay to be different, 'cause baby, so am I.
We have bingo already, everybody. We have Miss Hương, right? Bingo. So this is a very simple song. I'm sorry, very simple song activity. Just bingo, right? And you can still play the song until you find 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 winners. It's up to you. But what I mean here is that we can use a song in a creative way. It's not just like singing along, right, or feeling the lyrics. I know one teacher that every day he used songs in class, and every day he print out the lyrics with the blanks for students to complete. Right, it's not very interesting for them. Another activity you can help your student, you can ask your student to do, that is listen to the song first, then pick up 10 words they hear and create a story. Or they listen to a song, then they describe the character's feelings. Or if you teach them, if you're teaching conditional sentences, ask them what they would do if they were the character in the song. Okay? So there are many ways, many creative ways for you to design a song activity, not just filling the blank. By the way, the song we just listened to is So Am I by Ava Max. This song is very popular to teenagers these days. So please remember, again, Please remember to choose the song they like or they want, not the song you want. Or better, let them choose the song they want to work with and ask them to design the activity themselves. All right, we give them the power, we give them the responsibilities to do it. Okay, so then we'll finish using videos, songs, and eye-based materials. Now let's go to the next one, using mobiles and web-based apps. So web-based teaching tools and mobile apps have become more and more popular in education and teaching. Even though many people are still reluctant to use them, we can't deny the great benefits they can bring to us as teachers and students, right? So what are the benefits here? So somebody asked for the name of the song again. The song is So Am I, okay? All right, now back. The first benefits we can see from using mobile and web-based app, that is, they're great, right? They're innovative, easy to use tool for teaching and learning. So now with a smartphone or a laptop, you can teach and learn anywhere, anytime with anybody. The second thing is it enhances learners' interaction with technology. It creates new learning strategies and methods, and students learn how to use technology for their own learning. The next one, it develops learner roles in their learning. So now they can choose what they want to learn, when to learn, and how to assess their learning. And finally, it creates engaging learning environments, and it increases learners' motivation, right? So, by the way, during this presentation, you see that I used the phrase of engaging learning environment a lot of times, because that is very, very important in enhancing your students' learner autonomy. Okay. However, as these internet-based activities and techniques, the first thing teacher needs to remember before applying these in their classroom is that if the student have access to internet and necessary devices, like a smartphone or laptop with internet. If not, these things just create more difficulties, more challenges to your student. So be careful when we're using mobile apps and web-based apps. All right, I'd like to introduce a few things, a few apps and platforms that you can use in your class. The first one, let's talk about the platforms. I believe many of you use the platform, right? Especially now it is very popular in this online period. Flipgrid. With this video platform, so Flipgrid is a video platform, and with this you can create classes, then post video lectures and exercises there. Your student will come in, watch, and do the exercises also in the form of videos, and they can post their video on Flipgrid. Teachers and other students, other friends can go and see, and they can give comments. So that is a good way for them to assess their learning or their friends' learning. The second platform is Padlet. Padlet is like a board where you can post your lectures, your instruction exercises, and students will do the exercises directly on that board. They can post links, videos, songs, and you can see directly how well they are doing that, right? And again, other friends can also see, and they can give comments, they can help their friends improve. The third one, like Mentimeter and Nearport, so they are nearly the same. You can create presentation like PowerPoint, like what I'm doing now with Menti. But this kind of PowerPoint is more interactive. Your student can answer the questions in polls, survey, or quizzes, like just what we've been doing now. And this is very good interactive, especially when you're teaching online, right? You do not have a lot of interaction with them. So working on these platforms, students will have a chance to work and interact with technology in an engaging learning environment that they are very comfortable and familiar with. Also, with this platform, teachers give the student the responsibility to choose how they learn, when they learn, and what they want to learn. They can also get a chance to evaluate their own learning and others' learning, and they can see others answer important quizzes on Flipgrid or Padlet too, right? So all these things naturally contribute to the development of their learner autonomy. Somebody asks, do we have to pay a fee to use them? All of the things here are free, but with limited functions. Okay, if you want full function, you have to pay. But for they always have the what kind of, they say, the education plan, educational plan, which is cheaper than a business plan. All right. Because we don't have enough time, so I just went through some brief description like that. If you want to know more about this, so the guidance are available everywhere, especially on YouTube, right? So if you have a chance, if you want to explore that, you can go to YouTube. Now we will talk about two writing and grammar tools, Zoho and Grammarly. I'm not sure if you know this one, but Zoho and Grammarly are writing processors with immediate feedback. And if you make any mistakes, they can give you the suggestion for correction right away. Okay, and they also give you synonyms too. But the thing is not free. Again, it's free, but with limited function. Now I like to do a little demo for you. Okay, we talk about Zoho. I myself like Zoho more than Grammarly. Here you can see I have created a text in Zoho. And when you finish this one, you can click here to see their correction and suggestions. For example, with this one, you see that they suggest that we have no, the text has no spelling errors, but has 4 grammar mistakes, and they give you 4 grammar suggestions. For example, the first one, about countries. So the suggestion is about the countries. And when you click here, you will see where it is. It's right here, about the countries. And there is a description or an explanation of the mistake too, the missing article. If you want to correct that, click here, and it's corrected automatically for you. And what we have here, the next one is to wake, so waking. I suggest we change it to waking. And the mistake is incorrect verbs. Here, imagine to wake, so imagine waking, right? Again, click here to change. So very useful, right? Very useful tool for you and for your student too. Besides the spelling and grammar mistake, they also have you with the ease of reading, how difficult your text is to read. And we have other run-on sentences, other mistakes like run-on sentences, the wordy phrases, improper word choice, informal writing with this one, slang, construction, colloquialism, and other informal elements are avoided while writing for audience. So they suggest that instead of using the phrasal verb find out, we use ascertain or discover, right? And we click here to change it into discover. Let's see where is it? It's right here, and we change it to discover, if we agree, okay? Right, and passive sentences, adverbs, cliches, so a lot of tools. And if you, this is the free version. I'm using the free version. And if you paid for this, you have more mistakes, more kind of mistakes, correction. Right, so Zoho is a very good one. With Grammarly, things are similar. However, Grammarly has another function, that is you can embed or you can install the Grammarly into Chrome. Here, for example, if you see here, we have the small icon, green icon here in Chrome. So when you type email, for example, they will suggest a correction for you right away, right? And it's free. It's free. can Soho help with ideas development of a piece of writing? I never checked this one. However, I believe that in the paid version, you can do this. So you see that with this one, you can ask your student to do this themselves before they can submit the writing to you. So they can check this one first and they can learn from their mistake before they can, because you can help them, right? So it's a very beautiful one. Now let's go back to our slides here. So that is the writing and grammaton, right? Now let's talk about another one, mobile apps and game. Mobile apps and games are everywhere now with a smartphone, right? You know Elsa. Elsa is very popular now. It is famous, I can say that. This is developed by a Vietnamese American, I think. This app is very good for your students to practice their pronunciation. And with the AI, it recognizes your sounds and give feedback right away. They can tell you how many percent you sound like a native speaker. The bad news is it's not for free. But the free version is good enough for your student. They can practice every word they want. They can hear the native speaker speak the words, and then they just imitate that. And the app will tell how well the student pronounce the word. By the way, I know that it has some attractive discounts during this coronavirus pandemic, so you can check with the website. The second one I want to introduce is the For English app. This is also a very good one. Let's have a look as a demo. But before that, we can see that there are news, videos, books, and podcasts, listening, recording, and they have redesign activities for them, dictionaries embedded, and the time reminder. Okay, let's have a look at the demo.
Okay, let's talk about For English app, a very good app for both teaching and learning English. Let's open it. So when you open that, you'll see some tab at the bottom, right? So home, podcast, videos, and vocabulary. Let's have a look at each of them. So in the home tab, you will see the news website. And in this new website, you will see a list of news or sites that you can choose to read or to teach your students. For example, I open Fox News. Here, when you open Fox News, there are a list of news here for you to choose from. I will choose this day in history. Right, okay. So when you read this one, and the good thing of this app is if you don't understand a word, when you read, you can just click that word and it go to the dictionary. For example, I click mention. So here you see, let's go to Oxford Dictionary, mention. If you don't want to know the Vietnamese equivalent, just click the English Vietnamese dictionary here and you see the Vietnamese meaning. You can choose Cambridge, Longman, or Google Translate, right? So this is a very good feature with the built-in dictionaries. When we go back here, and you can even translate a paragraph into your own language. For example, when you click here, this icon, you will see a Vietnamese equivalent of that paragraph. Right? How good is that? Let's have a look at podcast. So podcast here is some listen recordings for your student to practice listening. They are divided into levels, so level 1, level 2, 3, and 10, which is very difficult to hear. Now let's have a look at this. So when you go inside, you will see the step scripts and click to listen.
The Chief Justice of the United States, John Roberts, said in 2014 that courts will always be careful when it...
So if you think it is too slow for you, you can increase the speed, right, by clicking the number at the bottom here. You see 1x, right? You can click the increase.
When it comes to the next big thing in technology.
Oh,
and it took a
1.5.
worldwide pandemic for the U.S. Supreme Court to finally agree to use, of all things, the telephone. In May.
Okay, so maximum is 2x, right? And again, if you want to translate the paragraph, just click hit this icon and you see that in Vietnamese. And if you want to know a word, for example, here I will choose broadcast and you go to a dictionary. For video, when you click the video tab here, you see a list of videos. For example, TED Talk, TED Ed, music, Oxford, and many more, right? For example, I'll choose one, which is this one. And when you click on each video, there are some exercises for you to do. For example, multiple choice, topping, or subtitles. I choose multiple choice. And also, you can choose a difficulty level from beginner up to expert, to beginner. When you go inside, you will see the script and you see the options for the yellow spot. Okay, so when we listen and we choose the correct one. For example,
when you have a job that pays you enough to cover your basic needs, your bills, and even some more to spend, the assumption even some more to spend, the assumption is that you'd be happy, or even better.
If you skip a word, or if it is too fast, you cannot do it promptly, you can see that the video will automatically stop for you or pause for you to do it. For example, here I stop, right? I can play it again. Sorry, I can play again.
The assumption is that you'd be happy,
okay, so
or even better, fulfilled. And it seems unthinkable when you wake up and say you're going to leave it.
So that's very simple, right? And again, click the word to go to a dictionary. Beautiful. Get this back here. And when you the last tab of vocabulary, so here you see a list of 3,000 common words or 3,000 Oxford words, 5,000 TOEFL words. So click that and you will see the words here. And if you don't understand the word, click that. Just go to your dictionary. Okay, very good for your student to build up their vocabulary. Okay, so those are some features of this 4 English app, which I think is very good for your students.
Okay, so you can see somebody asking me if this app is free. You can see that on the demo there are still some kind of ads there, right? Advertisement, because I'm using the free version. And in the free version, you can access to what I have done there. Very, very beautiful, right? Yes, you can pay to get the Pro version with more functions. For example, with the Pro version, and you have, you can go to the whole list of vocabulary there, not only a few ones that you see on the screen. So, right. So this is beautiful. I don't know if you have your students, if you have a smartphone or you don't have a smartphone, you can use that one. You ask your student to learn. And if your student learn here well, so they improve their learner autonomy very fast. All right, we continue with the next. Oh, by the way, there are some other mobile games related to English. And you can go to a Play Store or YouTube. You can see that we have a lot of apps like word domination, word sketch, crossword, everything for them to play. Now, okay, the last things in this is the quiz makers. Kahoot quizzes, Menti. So all these things are good for you to make the quiz. And with this one, the quiz is fun. It's not like the quiz in class when they have to listen to you, sit up straight and do the question without talking to friends, something like that. So for the quiz here on the internet is fun. Now, I have created one quiz, a short quiz with 5 questions on Menti on this presentation. I'd like you to give a try to do it with me. All right. Okay, so go to Menti again. This time I'd like you to start a quiz by putting your name first. I think everybody knows Kahoot and quizzes. I'd like to do it today with Menti to see how it's different and how it's fun to play in class. All right, 10 more seconds, everybody. We start the quiz. Sorry, the host asked me that way. I run out of time. 10 more minutes. All right, when we have like, I'll count from 1 to 5, right? And we start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now let's start the quiz, everybody. Answer first to get more points. Who is the father of the term learner autonomy? Thumbs up, let's see. Oh, yes, 79 get correct. All right, somebody have just, I think, pay not a lot of attention. Okay, question number 2. Oh, wait, so was it in? So Michelle, or who's the number 1? Okay, so Michelle, right? Number 1. Next one, question number 2. Autonomous learners are? And the correct answer is, okay, that's correct. Responsible for their learning. Let's see the scoreboard here. So we have Michelle again. Now, Hang Hun, yeah, he goes first. Question number 3. Which statement is false? Correct answer is yes. Remember, so we still have like about 30 people belonging to the misunderstand group, right? Autonomy is not a process. It's not correct answer. You see the score here. Still Hang Hun, right? Number 1. Mr. Donphin, I'll go to number 2. Now number 3. Next one, question number 4. How many approaches are there to have foster learner autonomy according to Phil Benson? 4, 5, 6, 7. It's quite simple, right? Very easy. Go. Oh, really? The answer is 5, right? Remember, we have 5 approaches. Now let's see. With this question, Michelle the fastest, and for the 4 questions, so Michelle, let's go to number 1 now. Okay, very good. And the last question. According to a survey by the Manifest, how many teenagers are YouTube viewers? (82, 85, 89, and 93). And the answer is 95, right? Oh, sorry, 89% of them. Okay, so let's see the score, the overall score here. And who's the winner? Michelle, Hannah. Let's see. So congratulations, Michelle. You got the you're the first winner, right? This quiz on Menti, you can add songs too, but it is called distracted. I didn't get it. I didn't do it. You may wonder how these fun quizzes can enhance learner autonomy, right? So first of all, it's fun. It's interesting and motivating. It's competitive, and you know, our teenagers, they are very competitive. It's digital, and what's better for digital native like our teenager, right? That is you, teachers, create the quiz. How about you ask your students to create the quizzes themselves? A student can have a chance to play with a tool, a new tool, play with technology. They can choose what to test their friends and how a new way to self-evaluate their learning when writing or preparing the quiz and reviewing the answers. So all these things will help foster their learner autonomy. Okay, so until now we have covered two things: internet-based content and web-based mobile apps. The last thing we talk about is internet-based projects. So this is what I like best about teaching and learning with the internet. Let's see how these type of projects contribute to the development of learner autonomy, right? Okay, so it creates an engaging learning environment for students. They work on the projects in the internet surroundings, which elicits their curiosity and creativity, right? Many of you think that teenagers are curious and creative, right? Second and third, when doing the project, the student can reflect their personality and motivation, as well as what they need to learn and how they want to learn it. And last but not least, of course, when you set these projects, you hand in the responsibility for learning to learners. Learners will now have their own responsibility and decision to use resources, tools, techniques, technologies, and learning strategies. They can also self-evaluate and peer evaluate the task. All of these things will enhance their autonomy, certainly. And here are some of my suggestions for I-based projects. For example, search for the appropriate learning content for the next day, right? Or create a task with a music video or video warm-up. Present a topic with a short PowerPoint. Write an email to a pen pal or classmate. Or write or draw a comic strips based on a YouTube song. Make a very short video about a specific topic. Join a short online chat session held by the teachers. Or create a breaking news item to present the next day. This kind of project is interesting, right? You can do this by going to this website, classtool.net. I got the idea from one of my colleagues. And here in classtool.net, you see a lot of tools you can use. For example, random name picker, Facebook, and countdown timer, or QR code generator, right? Now let's look at the breaking news generator. So when you go to breaking news generator, you will see that this project will ask students to play the role of the anchor, right? They will say that they will read the news on TV. So you can ask them to go here and create their own breaking news. For example, you can see here I will write maybe the US news, headline, school, open again. Okay, and description, like for example, stars again, May 4, something like that, right? And they can just create the screen for the breaking news. So they can download, they can choose the image, they can upload the image, and they can download the whole breaking news image here, and the next day in class, they will have a chance to present or read the news in front of you and in front of the class. So I think it's a very good one. Right. Let's go back to, and again, there are many beautiful tools on classtool.net, free, totally free for teachers to use. Let's see another one, a few more I-based projects. So write a status on Facebook about a topic and get the most comments or like, right? Prepare a role play based on the Bria-sized story or Bria-sized songs. Prepare an online quiz for classmates like I just mentioned, and take a virtual field trip and write a short report. So what is a virtual field trip? Actually, a virtual field trip is like a videos about a place for students to watch and learn how things work in reality. There are a lot of websites offering the free field trip. I just like to recommend these two, Discovery Education. There are a lot of field trips here, or the virtual field trips. For example, with this page, you can go to Songdong Cave, and here, right, and you can hear the song, the songs, and they can take a walk, a virtual walk around around the cave, right? Here, you can see this. You can go to this place, and you can see things here. And on the left, you will see the description of this place. Right, so very beautiful, right? And there are many more. If you just go to Google and type virtual field trips, you will see in less than a second, there are more than 1 million results returned to you. Okay, so try to, sometimes try to apply these field trips to your students. Okay, so we have finished the third part of today's session, and nearly this is the end. We will cover like I-based content and techniques, right? We cover how to foster the student learner autonomy, and we cover the materials, the internet materials and web-based apps. However, there are some precautions that you need to pay attention to if you want to apply these things to your class. So first, that is the availability and accessibility of tools and devices. If you want to apply internet-based content and techniques, you need to make sure that your students have the access to these necessary tools. Second, many teachers worry that if we allow students to choose the content to learn, how can we control those contents? What if they are not suitable? The answer is teachers need to give clear instruction, clear guidance, and prompt assistance. Third, the feasibility of the assigned activities. Are your activities too difficult, too challenging for your student to do? And the last one, you need to pay attention to the volume of autonomous learning during the course, during a lesson, and within an activity. How much is possible? How much is acceptable and well received by the student? Do they feel overloaded with the autonomous learning activity that you assign to them? Right? So with this, we have finished nearly everything in our presentation. We mentioned what autonomy is, right? We talk about how to foster learner autonomy, and we mentioned some techniques and content that we can use from the internet. So, and that brings my presentation to the end. Before I stop, I'd like us to read this short passage from Lenny Dam in her book in 1995 as a conclusion to our webinar today. So it may be uncomfortable for us as teachers to hand in the responsibility of making decisions to our students. We do not usually trust their ability or accept their right of making wrong decisions. This, along with some other factors, as a result, makes us want to go back to the conventional methods and techniques to get the control back, unless we are patient and consistently desire to build and enhance our learner autonomy. Thanks, everybody. Okay, this is the some kind of references, and now we go to the Q&A session, everybody. If you have any questions, please type it on the internet. Sorry, we run out of time, so I won't be able to answer all your questions. So, but if you have any questions, please put it on the screen to share with us. If you have any questions, please type it on the internet, on the screen, or you can put this in the chat box. I can answer. I can look at the chat box too. Okay, we'll see the Q&A here. All right. I have some questions in the Q&A box. Student always makes excuse by complaining about the large amount of homework, so they cannot spend time learning English by themselves outside the class. What should I do in this case? Okay, in this case, yeah, that is we have to believe that, or we have to think that this is a fact, right? And it is happening with our students, especially in their public school. They have a lot of homework to do. So what we want them, what we can help them is to encourage them to do the exercises that we want them to do by some creative way, right? And using the internet is one of the creative ways that you can ask them to do, right? Instead of having them just write a paragraph on the paper and give it to me, why don't you ask them to write a paragraph on Zoho and then correct themselves, then give it back to the teacher? I think that will help. They give them more motivation. Somebody asked me, do you prefer Zoho over Grammarly? As mentioned in the presentation, I prefer Zoho. It's easier to use, more functions for the free version than Grammarly. Okay, so if you have more money, pay for Grammarly. But if you don't have a lot of money, so you can use Zoho. I think Zoho is better in free version. There are many kinds of supporting teaching apps. It causes confusing. So could you show me the most useful one? This question, I think that it depends on the purpose of the teacher or the learners, right? I cannot say which one is the best. In my presentation, I suggested two of the best one according to my experience. So it's for you to experience the apps and judge by yourself. I wonder what function that you use for that 5 questions game on the Menti.com. In the Menti.com, there are question slides, and when you create the question, you use that slide, and the slides, the question will appear there. Then they give you the code. The audience will log into the slide with the code and answer the question, and the answer will go directly to the slides. Teens tend to copy and paste answers anyway without real understanding. Are we fostering this? I'm not very sure that I understand these questions. That means how can we avoid this, or how can we encourage them not to use this, right? So in case your student do not understand and then just copy and paste, right? There are many ways that we can check their understanding. And for the first time, we check and have them and encourage them not to do this later, because that's not helpful for them, right? That's what I can suggest here. Could you show me the slide showing references again? I'd like to read more about the interest topic. So please, it's right here. Yeah, references. Here are some books that I read, and I did not read all of them, but I read some of the some good ideas there. Some young learners, and this is an interesting question. Some young learners are too eager to win. However, some learners are not and will rely on others. What do you think, and how do you deal with this situation? This is true, right? Then we go to student learning styles. So you need to understand your student learning style. Are they they don't like to win because they don't like games, they don't like running, they don't like, they just want to listen or listen to the teachers or read the text. So it depends on the learning styles. So when you design activities for your class, think of the all 4 types of learning styles in your classroom, and to make sure the activities address these types, right? If your activity, if one of the activity cannot address all 4 of them, so you have to balance. Like for example, the first activity is for this type of learners, and the other activity should be for the other types of learners. So then all students have a chance to learn and improve. We are not able to access for English using laptop, aren't we? I don't think that we can use for English on laptop, right? Just to give it a try, but I don't think it's okay, it's possible. All right, let's see if we have any questions here. I don't think we have any questions here, Ms. Han. I can give the webinar back to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and Quốc, for your fruitful and informative sharing session today. And thank you, everybody, for your proactive participation. I've never seen, such a fun sharing session like that from everybody. So we hope that you enjoy our webinar and will be able to apply the ideas and the teaching practice. Before you finish, please be reminded of the following things. Please come to the survey about this webinar and download your certificate of participation. These links are available only for 24 hours. I said it again, these links are available only for 24 hours, and the certificates are for registered attendees only. I have pasted the links in the chat box for your convenience. Also, please have a look at our website for the upcoming webinars and registration information. Some of you have also asked about the recording of this webinar. It will be also posted on our website, so please check it later. We still have 2 more webinars to come. Again, thank you for your participation, and I hope that I can see you all again. Happy holiday. Well, though I know that we've been in the longest holiday ever, but still, enjoy it to the fullest. Goodbye and stay safe, everybody.
VUS, your English, your future.